The rain hammered the Brooklyn sidewalks like it had a personal grudge, turning the world into a blurry watercolor of neon signs and honking taxis. I slammed the gym door behind me, my soaked hoodie clinging to my skin, heart pounding not from the sprint home but from the echo of David's laugh still ringing in my ears. And then, in that split second under the flickering streetlight, his hand brushed mine, deliberate, electric, and he leaned in, lips crashing against mine like a storm I'd been waiting for my whole damn life. But the next morning, he walked right past me in the locker room, towel slung over his shoulder, eyes fixed on the floor as if I'd become a ghost in his peripheral vision. "Hey, man," I muttered, forcing a grin that felt like shattered glass. But he just nodded once, polite, distant, like we were strangers who'd accidentally shared a bench press. It gutted me, that casual erasure, because in the space of one night, everything we'd built in sweat and shared playlists had cracked wide open, and I was the only one left bleeding from the fall. I first spotted David across the weight room at Iron Pulse Gym, that gritty spot tucked under the elevated tracks in Bushwick, where the air smelled like rust and ambition. It was a Tuesday in late spring, the kind of day when the sun filters through the grimy windows like it's too tired to shine full force. I was midway through my third set of deadlifts, veins popping, when he strolled in tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless swagger that said he owned the place without trying. His skin was a warm olive tone, hair cropped close and dusted with what looked like gym chalk, and he had this tattoo snaking up his forearm. A compass rose, intricate lines pointing nowhere but everywhere. He loaded up the squat rack next to mine, grunting softly as he dropped into a set, and I swear the whole room seemed to sync to his rhythm. We didn't talk that day. I was James Riley, 28, a freelance graphic designer scraping by on coffee-fueled deadlines in my shoebox apartment off Myrtle Avenue. Gym was my religion. 3 hours a day to drown out the noise of rejection emails and the hollow ache of being the only gay guy in my family who hadn't figured it out yet. Mom back in Philly called every Sunday, her voice all honeyed concern. "You seeing anyone, Jimmy? A nice girl." I'd laugh it off, say I was focused on work, but truth was the apps had burned me out. Endless swipes, ghosted chats. That one hookup who bailed mid-makeout because this isn't me. So Iron Pulse was safe. No expectations, just iron and endorphins. By week 2, though, David and I had fallen into orbit. He'd spot me on bench presses, his calloused hands steady under the bar, murmuring, "You've got this, Riley, push through." I'd return the favor, watching the way his quads flexed under those black shorts, the sweat tracing paths down his neck. We started lingering after sets, trading stories over protein shakes at the juice bar. He was David Torres, 30, a firefighter out of Ladder 132 in Bed-Stuy, the kind of guy who ran into burning buildings while the rest of us hit snooze. Grew up in the Bronx, lost his dad young to the bottle, channeled it all into pull-ups and saving lives. "Fire's honest," he'd say, flexing his fingers around a water bottle. "It doesn't lie about what it wants to consume." Our routines meshed like we'd planned it. Mornings became ours. He'd arrive at 6 a.m. sharp, black truck parked out front, blasting old-school hip-hop from his phone. Biggie, Jay-Z, the beats thumping through the mirrors. I'd match him rep for rep, our banter sharpening like a well-honed blade. "You're slacking on those lunges, Torres." I'd tease, and he'd fire back. Says the guy who can't deadlift his body weight without turning red as a lobster. Laughter came easy, the kind that loosens knots you didn't know were there. We'd walk out together sometimes, steam rising off the pavement in the dawn light, shoulders brushing in that accidental way that sends sparks up your spine. It wasn't just the gym. One humid July evening, after a brutal circuit that left us both sprawled on the mats, gasping like fish, he cracked open his cooler and handed me a cold Gatorade. "You ever think about why we do this shit?" he asked, staring at the ceiling fans whirring lazy circles. I shrugged, wiping sweat from my brow. Beats sitting on the couch scrolling TikTok. Plus, abs don't grow on trees. He chuckled, low and rumbling, then went quiet. "Nah, man. For me it's control. Life throws curveballs. Lost my brother last year to that overdose bullshit. Gym's the one place I call the shots." His voice cracked just a hair, and something in me twisted. I knew that ache, the way grief sits in your chest like a stone. My own dad had split when I was 10, left mom with 3 kids and a mountain of bills. I'd buried it under sketches and screens, but here, with David, it felt okay to let the edges show. From there, the lines blurred. We'd grab tacos at that hole-in-the-wall on Knickerbocker after late sessions, splitting plates of al pastor under strings of chilly lights. He'd talk about his abuela's tamales, the way she'd pray over the masa like it was holy sacrament. I'd spill about my latest client drama, a startup logo that looked like a drunk toddler drew it, and he'd listen, really listen, those dark eyes locking on mine with an intensity that made my pulse stutter. One night, buzzed on cheap margaritas, he slung an arm around my shoulders as we stumbled toward the subway. "You're solid, James. Don't let this city chew you up." His breath was warm against my ear, and for a heartbeat, I leaned into it, imagining what it would be like if solid meant more. But I kept it locked down. He was straight as an arrow, or so I thought. Flirted with the baristas at the coffee cart, posted thirst traps with captions like "squad goals," alongside pics of his crew at the firehouse. Still, there were moments. The way he'd hold my gaze a beat too long during stretches, fingers grazing my ankle as he adjusted my form. Or that playlist he shared. Half pump-up anthems, half soulful R&B that whispered of lonely nights. I told myself it was projection, the desperate wiring of a heart starved for connection. Gym buddies, that's all. Until the rain that changed everything. It poured that September evening, a biblical downpour that flooded the streets and canceled my design meeting. I hit the gym late, frustration boiling over into heavier weights than usual. David was there, finishing his cool down, towel draped like some Greek statue come to life. "Rough day?" he asked, falling into step beside me as I racked the dumbbells. I nodded, words sticking. "Client's a dick. Thinks he can redesign my vision for free." He snorted. "Sounds like half the chiefs I deal with. Come on, spot me on pull-ups. It'll clear your head." We pushed each other harder than ever, the storm outside mirroring the one building in my chest. By the time we hit the mats for planks, we were drenched, not just in sweat, but in that raw, unspoken energy that hums before a breakthrough. He collapsed first, rolling onto his back, chest heaving. I followed, inches away, our arms touching. Thunder cracked overhead, lights flickering, and in the dim glow, his face was all shadows and sincerity. "James," he said, voice rough, "you ever feel like you're carrying this weight you can't name?" I turned my head, meeting his eyes, those deep brown pools that had been pulling me under for months. "Every damn day." The words hung there, heavy as the air. And then, without warning, his hand found mine, fingers intertwining like they'd always belonged. Time stuttered. He shifted closer, breath mingling, and before I could second-guess, his lips were on mine, soft at first, tentative, then fierce, like he'd been holding back a dam. My world narrowed to the salt of his skin, the scrape of his stubble, the way he tasted like mint and urgency. It was everything I dreamed in stolen glances, and more. A promise whispered in the dark. We broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed together, rain lashing the windows like applause. "Shit," he murmured, a smile ghosting his lips. "That just happened." I laughed, shaky, heart soaring. Yeah, it did. In that moment, under the fluorescent hum and the storm's roar, I believed we'd rewrite the rules. Gym buddies no more. Something real blooming in the cracks. But dawn brought the fracture. I woke to my phone buzzing. His text, "Great session last night. See you tomorrow?" No mention of the kiss, no emoji heart, just casual as a weather report. At the gym, he was all business. Fist bump hello. "Let's hit legs today." No eye contact that lingered, no brush of hands. I played along, chalking it up to nerves, the shock of it all. But days turned to weeks, and the silence grew. He'd laugh at my jokes, spot my lifts, but that spark? Buried, pretended away. And every time he dodged, it carved deeper. A betrayal not of malice, but of fear. The man who'd run into fires now fled from the heat between us. It broke me, piece by sweat-soaked piece, because loving David Torres wasn't just a crush. It was the first time I'd felt seen, truly seen, and losing that felt like dying slow. Fall deepened in Brooklyn, leaves turning the sidewalks to crimson carpets. But inside Iron Pulse, the air stayed thick with the scent of rubber mats and unresolved tension. I threw myself into routines, adding extra cardio to burn off the ache, but David was a constant orbit, inescapable, gravitational. We'd chat about surface shit. The Mets playoff choke, his latest call where he hauled a kid from a smoke-filled row house. Little guy's mom hugged me like I was Jesus, he'd say, flexing unconsciously, and I'd nod, forcing a grin while my mind replayed that kiss on loop. The way his thumb had traced my jaw like it was mapping treasure. One crisp October morning, as we cooled down on the ellipticals, side by side, I couldn't hold it anymore. The gym was quiet, just the whir of machines and distant clanks. David, I started, voice low. About that night, he faltered, stride breaking rhythm, eyes flicking to the TV mounted on the wall. Some ESPN highlight reel. Yeah, man. Intense storm. Huh. Casual deflection like we'd discussed the weather, not the seismic shift of our mouths meeting. My stomach twisted. No, I mean, the kiss. It wasn't nothing. He slowed to a stop, wiping his face with his towel, avoiding my gaze. Look, James, it was heat of the moment. Adrenaline. We're good as we are, right? Buddies. The word landed like a slap. Buddies. As if the vulnerability he'd cracked open was just a barbell I could re-rack and forget. I swallowed hard, tasting bile. Is that what you want? To pretend. His jaw tightened, that compass tattoo flexing like it was pointing him away. It's easier this way. Life's complicated enough. He clapped my shoulder, brotherly, platonic, and headed for the lockers, leaving me pedaling into nothingness, chest hollow. From there, the distance calcified. He'd arrive later, claim a different rack, our sets no longer syncing. I catch him glancing over during deadlifts, a flicker of something. Regret? Desire? Before he'd mask it with a nod to another regular, some burly dude named Marco who worked construction. Marco became his new shadow. Spotting sessions, post-gym beers I wasn't invited to. Torres is killing it? Marco'd boom, and David would laugh. That deep timbre I used to hoard for myself now echoing for the room. Nights were worse. Back in my apartment, with its peeling wallpaper and view of the L train rattling by, I'd sketch compulsively, David's profile in charcoal, the curve of his bicep mid-curl, then crumple them, throat tight. I'd scroll his Instagram. Firehouse selfies, gym mirror shots captioned, grind never stops, no days off. No tags for me, no stories from our taco runs. Once, buried in his highlights, a clip from that rainstorm night. Him dashing through puddles, grinning at the camera, oblivious to the man waiting inside. I unfollowed, then refollowed in a weak moment, the cycle vicious. Work suffered too. My designs turned sloppy. Logos bleeding colors like bruises. And my editor, a no-nonsense woman named Lena from Queens, called me out over Zoom. James, honey, you look like hell. What's eating you? I mumbled about burnout, but she wasn't buying. Take a day. Go live. This city's got more than deadlines. Her advice stuck, so I did. Wandered the promenade in Dumbo one gray afternoon, watching ferries slice the East River, couples hand in hand against the skyline. A guy with a man bun proposed nearby, ring glinting, cheers erupting from strangers. I turned away, the joy a knife twist. What would it be like? I wondered, to build something without the fear of it crumbling. David's fear. I pieced it together in fragments. Overheard him once on the phone in the locker room. Voice hushed. Ma, it's not like that. I'm straight. Okay? Just figuring shit out. His abuela, probably the one with the tamales and prayers. Family, faith, the Bronx code that didn't bend easy. Then there was the firehouse. A brotherhood forged in flames, where faggot slurs flew casual as nicknames, testing metal. David thrived there, the hero with the steady hands. Coming out, it'd be volunteering for the burn. Still, I clung. We had history, didn't we? Those early mornings when he'd share his abuela's empanada recipe. Eyes lighting as he described the filling, ground beef, olives. That perfect spice kick. Or the time I fixed his busted phone screen after a rough shift. Our knees touching under the kitchen table in his walk-up off Atlantic Avenue. The room smelling of fresh paint and takeout lo mein. "You're a lifesaver, Riley," he'd said. And for a second, his hand lingered on mine, warm and sure. Moments like that fueled the delusion. Maybe he'd come around, see that what we had wasn't a phase but a foundation. November brought Thanksgiving, and the gym emptied out. Folks fleeing to turkey roasts and family drama. I stayed local. Mom's call a video chat where she FaceTimed from the Philly basement, siblings squabbling in the background. "Miss you, Jimmy. Bring a date next year." I promised I would, voice cracking on the lie. David vanished too, posting a pic from his mom's spread in the Bronx. Table groaning with pernil and Eras con Gandals. Him sandwiched between cousins, smile wide but eyes distant. I messaged him, "Happy Turkey Day, Torres. Save me a drumstick," and got a thumbs-up emoji. 24 hours later. The break came mid-December, snow dusting the fire escapes like powdered sugar. I'd pushed through a flu, hacking coughs between sets, but David noticed. "You sound like death, man. Go home." For once, concern cracked his armor. That Friday, post-shift for him, pre-deadline crunch for me, he texted, "Beers? My place. 8. My heart lurched, hope, that treacherous bitch, surging back. His apartment was a third-floor walk-up in a brownstone off Nostrand, the kind with creaky stairs and radiators that hissed like old men complaining. He buzzed me up, door ajar, the space lit by a single lamp and the glow of a muted Knicks game. It smelled like pine cleaner and something savory, empanadas, fresh from the oven. "Figured you'd need real food," he said, handing me a beer, our fingers brushing. No pull away this time. We settled on his sagging couch, plates balanced on knees, the TV droning scores. Conversation flowed easy at first. His wild call that week. A car wreck on the BQE, jaws of life screaming. My latest gig. An album cover for an indie band that owed me favors. Then pause. He set his plate down, rubbing his neck. "James. About before. I fucked up." My breath caught. Which part? A ghost of a smile. The pretending. "It's not fair to you." Relief flooded, hot and dizzying. "Then don't. Be real with me." He leaned forward, elbows on knees, staring at the floor. "I want to. God, I do." That night, it scared the shit out of me. Woke up thinking about you, how right it felt. But then the crew starts ribbing me about some chick at the bar, and it's like, boom, back in the box. He met my eyes, raw. "I'm not used to this. Wanting a guy. Wanting you." The admission hung, fragile as snowflakes. I reached out, tentative, my hand covering his. He didn't flinch. Instead, he turned it palm up, thumb stroking my knuckles. "What if we try? Slow. No labels. Just us." The words were a lifeline. I nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, us." We talked till midnight. Fears unpacked like gym bags. His abuela's old-world expectations clashing with the city's queer pulse. My own scars from exes who bailed at boyfriend. Laughter mixed in, lightening the load. Him mimicking his lieutenant's gruff pep talks. Me exaggerating a client meltdown. When I left, dawn creeping over the rooftops, he walked me to the door. No kiss. Just a hug, solid and lingering, his chin on my shoulder. "See you at the gym, partner." I floated home, the city alive with possibility. For the first time in months, sleep came dreamless, deep, but cracks spiderweb slow. Early January, the gym buzzed with resolutions. New faces, crowded racks. David and I found our groove again, but shadowed. He'd text goodnights, share memes about bad workouts, even held my hand once under the table at a diner on Flatbush, hidden by the menu. Intimate whispers. "Missed this?" Murmured during a deload week. Yet publicly, still buddies. Fist bumps, not fingers laced. I understood the firehouse wasn't Pride Central, but the secrecy chafed. A low burn. Then betrayal's first whisper, Marco. At a group hang he'd roped me into. Beers at a dive off Graham. He slung an arm around David, too familiar, joking about our boy Torres finally settling down. David laughed it off, but later, alone in the bathroom line, Marco cornered me. You two are thick as thieves lately. He say anything? His eyes narrowed, curious or suspicious. I couldn't tell. Nah, just gym shit. I lied, pulse racing. Marco nodded, but the seed planted. Exposure's edge. Weeks blurred, Valentine's shadow looming. David planned a non-date, Nets game courtside, courtesy of a buddy's comp tickets. We cheered from the front row, elbows jostling, his knee pressed to mine the whole fourth quarter. Post-game, walking through the Barclays blur of fans and street vendors, he bought me a pretzel, salt flaking like confetti. Happy non-Valentines, he quipped, and I pulled him into an alley off Atlantic, kissing him fierce under the sodium glow. He kissed back, hands in my hair, world fading. But the high crashed hard. Next session, David arrived with a shiner, purple bloom under his eye. Sparring gone wrong, he muttered, but his vibe was off, withdrawn. I pressed later over shakes. Crew stuff. Nothing. Lies have weight. This one sagged his shoulders. That night, his text. Need space. Talk soon. No explanation, just absence. Days stretched to a week, then two. Gym sightings. Nods, no words. My messages unread. Panic clawed. I showed up at the firehouse one rainy afternoon, heart hammering against the brick facade. The bay doors yawned open, trucks gleaming. Proby spotted me. Torres? He's off today. Lie or truth? I didn't wait to find out. Instead, I drowned in work, designs turning manic, Lena praising the edge, while I bled onto the canvas. The truth hit via Instagram. A story from Marco. David at a bar crawl in Williamsburg, arm around a woman named Sophia, her laugh bubbly in the clip. Caption. Finally got Torres to loosen up. Wingman win. My phone slipped, screen cracking on the tile. Betrayal sharp as glass. Not just denial but replacement, a performance to prove to himself, to them, that the kiss was a glitch. I blocked him, deleted the thread, but the hurt lodged deep, festering. Spring teased with crocuses pushing through concrete, but I withered. Friends? Lena, a queer coder named Alex from my co-working space, dragged me out. Brunches in Park Slope, where rainbow flags fluttered like taunts. He's not worth it, Alex said over mimosas, his hand sympathetic on mine. Plenty of guys who won't make you hide. Logical, but love's not ledgers. I missed David's quiet strength. The way he'd hum off-key to Juicy during warm-ups. The vulnerability he'd glimpsed once, twice. Confrontation brewed inevitable. Early April, cherry blossoms shedding pink confetti on the paths. I cornered him post-set. The gym thrummed, but our corner felt isolated. Weights clanging like distant thunder. We need to talk, I said, voice steel. He sighed, towel draped, avoiding. James, no. You don't get to ghost again. Sophia? The bar? Was that for show or did you just forget me? His face crumpled, guilt etching lines. It's not that simple. The crew found out some bullshit rumor. Started asking questions. Sophia's a friend. Helped sell the story. Sell. Like I was a product, recalled. Rage boiled. So I'm the dirty secret? The experiment. He reached, but I stepped back. I panicked. Okay? Thought it'd protect you too, from the fallout. Protect. The word mocked. From what? Your cowardice. Harsh but true. He flinched, eyes glistening. Maybe. But I never stopped. Fuck. James. I think about you every damn day. Too late. The dam broke in me. Not tears, but resolve. Then why does it feel like erasure? We stood there, breaths sinking unwilling. The gym's pulse mocking our fracture. He whispered, give me time. But time was the thief and I'd given enough. Fix yourself first, Torres. Then maybe. I walked out, rain starting again, washing the salt from my cheeks. Betrayal's sting lingered, but so did a spark. Survival. The story wasn't over, not yet. Summer scorched Brooklyn that year, asphalt shimmering like a griddle. the air heavy with exhaust and grilled meat from street carts. Iron Pulse became a refuge of fans and chilled air, but I avoided peak hours, slipping in at odd times to dodge David's ghost. Our confrontation hung between us like humidity, unseen but suffocating. I'd see him across the room sometimes, mid-curl, sweat gleaming, and our eyes would lock. Mine accusatory, his pleading. No words, just the slow bleed of what-ifs. I rebuilt in fragments. Alex became anchor, coffee dates turning to movie nights in his loft overlooking the Gowanus Canal, where we'd dissect rom-coms over popcorn, laughing at the tidy bows. Real love's Messier, he'd say, his arm casual around my shoulders, a friendship warm without pressure. Lena hooked me up with a passion project. Branding for a queer youth center in Bed-Stuy, murals of fists raised in color, taglines like, "Own your story." Pouring myself into it healed something, gave voice to the silence David had imposed. Late nights in the co-working space, sketches evolving into bold graphics. I felt the city's pulse again. Resilient, unapologetic. David, though? Whispers filtered through Marco, who cornered me one humid evening by the water fountain. Torres is off his game, man. Snapping at the probies, skipping socials. Sophia thing fizzled, said it felt wrong. Schadenfreude attempted, but I waved it off. Not my circus. Marco eyed me, piecing. You two had a fight? He clams up when I ask. I shrugged, but inside, a traitorous hope flickered. Wrong. Good. Maybe the performance chafed him too. Independence Day brought fireworks, literal and not. Alex dragged me to the East River Esplanade. Blankets spread amid picnickers, skyline exploding in reds and golds. We kissed under the booms, soft, exploratory, his hands gentle on my waist. It was nice, uncomplicated, a step toward moving on. But as barge bursts lit the water, my mind wandered to David. Him on a fire escape last 4th, cracking glow sticks with his crew, stories of near misses shared over coolers. I pulled Alex closer, chasing distraction, but the ache persisted, a phantom limb. The center's launch party was mid-July, a block bash with food trucks and DJs spinning house beats under strung lights. I manned the booth, handing out stickers emblazoned with my designs, chatting with kids who reminded me of younger me. Wide-eyed, testing edges. This one's my fave. A teen with blue hair said, pointing to a logo of intertwined roots in rainbow hues. Shows we're connected, you know? Connected. The word snagged. As the crowd thinned, I spotted him, David, leaning against a lamppost across the street, hands in pockets, watching. My pulse spiked. He crossed over, hesitant, nursing a plastic cup of punch. Nice work, Riley. Looks killer. Surprise thawed to wariness. Thanks. Didn't expect you here. He shifted, compass tattoo catching the light. Heard about it from the firehouse community thing. Wanted to. Support. Awkward pause. Bass thumping background. Look, James, can we walk? Clear our heads. Against better judgment, I nodded. We wandered toward Restoration Plaza, the night alive with laughter and sizzle. He started slow. Therapy. Started last month. Fire departments got this program, post-trauma stuff, but it's helping with everything. Vulnerability again, his armor dented. I listened as he unpacked, sessions dredging up his brother's overdose, the guilt of not seeing signs, Abuela's rosaries clashing with his awakening, the crew's casual homophobia masking their own fears. That rumor is spread like wildfire. Jokes turned pointed. Felt like I was under the hose. Exposed. His voice roughened. Pushed you away to douse it. Stupid. Cost me the one real thing. Emotion swelled, mine mirroring. It hurt, David. The plea hung. Fireworks echoing distant. Part of me screamed run, self-preservation siren, but the romantic fool whispered second chances. Slow, I said, echoing his earlier words. And honest. No more hiding. He nodded, fervent. Deal. We didn't kiss. Not yet. But his pinky hooked mine as we walked back. A tentative bridge. Re-entry was tentative dance. Gym sessions resumed, cautious. Shared racks, banter laced with subtext. Missed your form checks, he'd tease, hand lingering on my lower back during squats, electric but chaste. Off hours bloomed. Coffee runs to devotion, where Colombian beans brewed strong as resolve. Sunset jogs along the Williamsburg Bridge, Manhattan's glow a backdrop to confessions. He opened up more, his first crush, a summer camp counselor who'd vanished post-graduation. The terror of labels sticking like smoke. I shared too. Dad's abandonment, Mom's oblivious love, the app's carousel of almosts. You make me brave, he murmured one evening, head on my shoulder during a binge of The Wire in his apartment. The city's hum outside, but conflict simmered external. The firehouse loomed, a pressure cooker. August brought a brutal heat wave, calls spiking, brush fires and empty lots, heart attacks from the swelter. David came home drained, shadows under his eyes, but he'd text, survived another inferno. Thinking of you. Then the call. A 3-alarm in Crown Heights, warehouse blaze swallowing pallets. He was inside, radio crackling, when the beam gave. News hit my phone. Ladder 132, 1 injured. My world tilted. Pacing my apartment, biting nails, I waited for word. Hours later, bruised ribs, smoke inhalation. Alive. Relief buckled me. I met him at the ER, fluorescent hell of beeps and bleach. He was propped in bed, bandaged, grinning weak. Told you I call the shots. I clutched his hand, unashamed, nurses be damned. Scared the shit out of me, Torres. That night, in his dim room, I stayed, curling beside him, breaths sinking to monitor's lullaby. No grand gestures, just presence. The humanistic core, love as witness. Recovery stretched September, him sidelined, me ferrying meals. Lena's lasagna, Alex's smoothies, with a side eye of, don't fuck this up. David chafed at downtime, but we filled it. Books swapped, his Baldwin essays, my graphic novels. Lazy brunches where he'd steal my fries, eyes soft. Intimacy deepened, not physical leaps but emotional dives. One rainy afternoon, thunder rumbling, he traced my palm. I love you, James. For real this time. The words landed gentle, profound. I echoed them, seal set. Yet, betrayal's echo lingered. Marco's texts ramped. Heard Torres is soft on you. Cruz talking. Paranoia crept. Would David fold again? A department barbecue tested. Firehouse yard. Grills smoking. Wives and kids milling. He introduced me as my guy James. Casual. But his lieutenant clapped my back too hard. Eyes probing. Heard you two are inseparable. David's laugh was tight. Later, by the keg, the man pulled him aside, whispers, nods. I watched from afar, gut churning, until David returned, face ashen. It's fine, he lied. But that night, over takeout, truth spilled. LT suggested I watch the optics. Like I'm a liability. Hurt flashed, defensive. So what now? Back to pretending. He recoiled. No, I'm done hiding. But doubt seeded. October's chill mirrored the cool between us. Text shorter, Jim nods clipped. I threw into the center expansions funded, murals sprawling blocks. Kids' stories poured in, coming out tales, resilient arcs. One boy, 16, inked a piece for the wall. 2 figures silhouetted against flames, hands linked. For the heroes who burn but don't break. I hung it prominent, caption. David's unspoken. Climax brewed election night, city electric with tension. Polls closing, bars overflowing. We watched at his place, takeout forgotten, as results trickled. Division's ugly map. David paced, agitation mounting. World's on fire, and I'm worried about my ass. Mid-count, his phone buzzed. LT. Crew vote on inclusivity training. Your name came up. The room tilted. He slammed the counter. They think I'm the poster boy for this shit? After one slip, I reached. It's progress. But he whirled, eyes wild. Progress? It's a goddamn witch hunt. I saved their lives, and now I'm the queer question mark. The slur slipped unintended, but it landed. Hurt bloomed hot. Is that how you see me? A question. Silence deafened. He deflated, regret carving. No. God, no. I'm scared, James. Of losing it all. Raw but the damage stuck, old wounds ripped. We argued then, voices rising over pundit drone. My plea for solidarity, his fear of isolation. I can't be your experiment anymore, I shouted, door in sight. He grabbed my arm. Don't. Please. Pause, breaths ragged. I choose you. Every time. But choice demands action. That night, he texted the LT. Count me in. And fuck the optics. Resignation followed weeks later. Lateral transfer to a diverse station in Harlem. Better fit. The shift cracked him open. New crew. Queer vets, women leads, trainings mandatory. David thrived. Stories filtering. Saved a drag queen from a club fire today. She called me family. Pride swelled, but so did distance. His growth pulling him forward while I lagged. Trust frayed. November's gray tested. A center event. Story slam for youth. Drew him as guest. Badge off, vulnerabilities shared. I was the guy pretending. Till someone showed me mirrors reflect truth. Applause thundered, my chest tight. Backstage, he pulled me close. This is us. Public. First real kiss in months, crowd murmur fading. But betrayal's final twist. Sophia. Not romance. A photo from the old crew's holiday party. Her arm linked with his. Caption old flames, new friends. Innocent, but to my scarred eye, salt. Confrontation exploded over eggnog at my place. Friends? Or cover? He swore truth, but I saw ghosts. I can't keep rebuilding on rubble. Door slammed, snow swirling. Winter gripped, isolation's chill. Holidays solo. Mom's call tearful, Alex's party a blur. David reached, voicemails raw. I fucked up again, but I'm all in. Ignored. Healing meant space, the humanistic grind of self-love. Spring's thaw mirrored thaw. April, center mural dedication. David there, uninvited, plaque in hand. For James. Roots entwined. Speech choked. This man's art, heart, taught me to stand in my fire. Crowd hushed. My walls crumbled. Post-ceremony. Park bench. Forgive. I nodded. Tentative. Earn it. He did. Dates public. Hands held on Atlantic. His coming out to Abuela over FaceTime. Her blessing tear-streaked. Love like mine, Mijo. Fierce. Summer returned, a steady. Gym buddies evolved. Partners synced in life. One dawn, under Brooklyn's rising sun. He proposed. Not ring, but promise. Build with me. Yes. The moment we chased claimed. Human, flawed, enduring. Yet endurance tests temper. That second summer, heat waves warped the horizon. And David's new station threw curveballs. A promotion dangling, but with it, longer shifts, the pull of duty. We'd carve time. Rooftop picnics on his brownstone, skyline toasting our toasts, or quiet drives to Coney Island. Boardwalk creaking underfoot as we shared cotton candy, sticky-fingered laughs. Remember our first tacos? He'd say, nuzzling my neck. Felt like stealing fire. I'd grin, the memory sweet. But shadows lingered, trust's fragile rebuild. The center flourished, my role expanding to director. Grants flowing for workshops on identity, art as armor. Kids like blue-haired Jamal, who'd etched that mural, mentored now. His sketches bold, voice steadier. You and your guy inspire, he'd say, and I'd flush, David's influence woven in. But workaholism crept. Deadlines bleeding into nights. Me crashing on the office futon while David waited with cold dinners. We're drifting, he warned one sticky evening. Sweat beading as we argued in his kitchen. Fan whirring futile. Not drifting. Growing. I countered, but his eyes held doubt, the old fear. Fall's foliage turned fiery, mirroring flare-ups. A call went south. Warehouse collapse in Red Hook. David trapped 10 minutes under debris. Radio silent. News vans swarmed my block. I paced Lena's couch, her hands steady on mine. He's tough. Extraction live on feeds. Crew digging. Then him, Dusty, waving thumbs up. Hospital reunion. Bruises blooming, but alive. Thought I lost you, I whispered, forehead to his. Never. You're my north. Vows renewed, but trauma's aftershocks. Nightmares jolting him awake. My arms his anchor. Therapy doubled down, couple sessions now, unpacking codependence, his heroism masking vulnerability. Thanksgiving brought family fusion. My Philly clan met his Bronx brood at a neutral diner in Jersey. Tables groaning with hybrids. Mom's green bean casserole beside Abuela's platanos. Awkward at first. Cousin stares, Uncle Ray's gruff. So you're the one. But laughter bridged. David's fire tales captivating. My designs sketched on napkins. Abuela pulled me aside, rosary clicking. You make him shine, Mijo, like my Raphael did for me. Her late husband, unspoken queer history. Tears pricked. Acceptance's quiet power. But betrayal's specter stalked subtle. December. Holiday rush. A text from Sophia. Forwarded by Marco. Olive branch gone sour. Party invite. David's single days missed. Context. Old crew reunion, her joke. But to David, innocent reply, haha, those were wild. To me, knife twist. Confrontation over lights on his tree. Flirting, he sighed, exasperated. It's nothing. Why do you assume? Because history rhymes. I shot, voice cracking. Escalation. My insecurities aired, his defensiveness flaring. I'm not him, the pretender. When will you trust? Doorframe leaned, exhausted. When it stops feeling like ground glass. Resolution simmered slow, New Year's Eve. Ball drop in Times Square crush. Us shoulder to shoulder amid confetti rain. This year all in. He yelled over cheers. Kiss ceiling. Resolutions held. Weekly check-ins. Boundaries drawn. January thought us further. Valentine's he surprised with a weekend in the Catskills. Cabin by a frozen lake, no signal, just us. Wood smoke and whispers, bodies close but honoring pace. Love you slow, he murmured, tracing constellations on my skin. Deepened, not rushed. Spring's renewal hit personal. My first gallery show, designs framed in a Williamsburg space. Gym-inspired abstracts, sweat-streaked canvases evoking vulnerability. David there, front row, pride beaming. Post-toast, he pulled me to the alley. You're magic, Riley. Passion ignited. Not frenzy, but fire tended. Kisses evolving to caresses, trusts bloom. Yet climax loomed larger, societal storm. June pride, Brooklyn march, rainbow sea surging over bridges. We marched linked, signs high. Heroes come in all colors. David Station sponsored a float, him in turnout gear, badge gleaming. Cheers swelled, but counter-protesters jeered from sidelines. Slurs hurled, bottles arcing. Chaos erupted. Scuffle near the front, David diving in, pulling a kid from the fray. Me beside, shielding. Adrenaline crash post. His hands shaking, my heart pounding. Worth it? I asked, bandaging a cut. Every scar, he said, eyes fierce. Summer's heat peaked with crisis. Wildfires licking the west, but echoes in NYC. Arson spikes, calls relentless. David's shifts tripled, exhaustion etching. One August dawn, post 24-hour, he stumbled home, collapsing. I found him feverish, cough-racking, smoke pneumonia. Doc said, hospital vigil. Machines beeping, my vigil unwavering. Can't lose you, I whispered, holding limp hand. Delirium babbled. Don't leave. Like dad. Like bro. Anchored him through his recovery, my North Star. Fall brought pivot. He turned down promotion. Want balance, not burnout. Lateral to training role, teaching rookies resilience. Your influence, he credited, over cider at the orchard. Humanistic shift. Strength in yielding. But betrayal's echo resurged. An anonymous email to the station. Leaked photo from our alley kiss, timestamped. Fallout. Whispers, LT's closed door. David faced it head-on. Memo drafted. I'm gay. Proud. My partner's James. Deal or depart. Crew response mixed. Some backs turned, others clapped. Marco first. About time, brother. Isolation ended. Tribe reformed. Winter's hush healed. Holidays joint. Philly for Christmas. Bronx for New Year's. Traditions meshed. Loves weave. One snow-dusted night. Fire crackling. He knelt. Ring simple. Silver band etched with compass and roots. Marry me? Build forever. Tears yes, embrace eternal. Yet story arc circle. Spring wedding small center courtyard. Murals witnesses. Kids officiating in tie-dye. Vows. In fire and quiet, I choose you. Dance under lanterns, city humming approval. Life post. Jim evolved, coaches now spotting newbies. David mentors at center, tales shared. Conflicts come, fights over chores, worries for future kids via surrogacy. But resolved in dialogue, growth's grace. Ending humanistic. Not flawless fairy tale, but real romance. Flawed men loving fierce. One dawn, bridge jog, hands laced. We made it, he grins. And we're just starting. In America's vast tapestry, our thread. Resilient, romantic, unbroken. Post-proposal winter, doubts nipped. David's coming out rippled. Abuela's church circle murmured, but her defense fierce. My grandson's heart is God's work. Mom sent rainbow socks. For my brave boy. But internal, my fear of complacency. What if we stagnate? I voiced over breakfast, bagels toasting. He squeezed my hand. Then we lift heavier. Summer postring. Travels, road trip southwest. Canyons echoing our shouts. Antelope slots, red walls. Us wedged tight. Like us? He laughed. Unyielding. But call mid-hike. Station emergency. Him flying back. Alone in motel, stars vast. Loneliness bit. Balance. We vowed again. Fall crisis. My diagnosis. Test anxiety flaring, panic attacks mid-pitch. Gallery follow-up bombed. Imposter syndrome roaring. David home late. I spiraled. Can't do this. He held me through night, dawn therapy sign-up. We're team, he reminded, vulnerability shared. Climax built. Anniversary October, 1 year from reconciliation. Planned escape, Hudson Valley cabin. En route, storm hit, car hydroplaning. Skid, ditch, heart stop. Unhurt but shaken. Tow truck wait. Life's fragile, he said. Hand in mine. Cabin arrival. Firelit confessions. His fear of failing me like family. My dread of abandonment. Storm outside mirrored inner. Tears, yells, breakthrough. Betrayal was my teacher, I admitted. Showed I deserve all in. He nodded. I give it. Resolution. Wedding plans solidified. Invites sent. Conflicts minor, venue debates. Guest lists but laced with joy. Winter wedding. Snow-draped. Intimate. Vows poetic. From Jim sweat to soul deep. I am yours. Post-honeymoon, Bermuda beaches. Hands intertwined, life layered. Center expands. David adjunct teaching fire safety. Fights flare. Over finances, future. But end in laughter. Growth. One evening, Jim closing. Us last. Remember that rain? He asks, towel shared. I smile. Best storm ever. Kiss under lights, story full circle. Years weave on. 5 post-vow, Brooklyn home, brownstone bought, creeks familiar. I direct center full, murals citywide. David chief now, training inclusive. Child via surrogate. Milo 2, toddling with toy truck. David's mini. Conflicts evolve. Parenting strains, Milo's tantrums, my travel for conferences. One night, post-colic cry. Exhausted spat. You're always gone. And you're married to the job. But dawn coffee. Apologies. Team, always. Betrayals ghost rare. But triggers. Old crew reunion invite declined. Past's ash, he says. Humanistic close. Milo's first pride. Wagon pulled. Rainbow flag wave. Us trailing, hands linked. This is legacy, David whispers. Joy swells. Love's labor, emotional arc complete. Not tragic, but earned happy. Dramatic falls, romantic rises, humanistic hold. In America's beat, our rhythm. Steady, profound. Epilogue tease, Jim Dawn, Milo between, lifting light. Like daddy, he giggles. Future bright, story endless.